Have you been checking your home, workplace, school or church for mosquito breeding sites? If you are, please continue to do so. We all have a responsibility to not only ourselves, but also to those around us. Remember, the mosquito which causes the Zika virus doesn't discriminate. It will bite rich or poor. It will bite enemies or friends. So be sure to look for and destroy mosquito breeding sites. I'm Adrian Atkinson, your host for the next half hour. We kick things off with a word of advice, followed by the news. Stay with us.
This is the Aedes aegypti mosquito that spreads the Zika, chikungunya and dengue viruses. Protect yourself from the bite of this mosquito. A message from the Ministry of Health.
Good day, I'm Andrea Chisholm and this is your JIS News for Monday, February 22. Government is better able to control the spread of mosquito-borne diseases and give adequate treatment to those affected. On Friday, the Ministry of Health received 6 million paracetamol tablets and 19 portable foggers from Food for the Poor. The donation was worth over $5.7 million.
We are confident that this donation of paracetamols and foggers will further improve the quality of service offered to our least fortunate brothers and sisters as we enhance public health and improve patient care in Jamaica.
I want to point out that paracetamol is used as one of the main symptomatic treatment interventions for not only the Zika virus, but chikungunya and dengue, as well as influenza or the flu, and hence this donation is timely.
In the meantime, the Health Ministry is urging persons to protect themselves from influenza viruses, including H1N1 or swine flu.
We are therefore encouraging persons to be extra careful during this season and to ensure that all precautionary measures are being observed, such as proper hand washing and proper cough etiquette. If persons are feeling ill, they should minimize their contact with others in order to prevent the spread of the flu viruses.
Symptoms may include sneezing, coughing, runny and stuffy nose, fatigue and headache. Up to Friday, there were 9 confirmed cases of the H1N1 virus in Jamaica. 1 person died after contracting the virus. And as Jamaica continues its ZIGV cleanup activities, a number of St. Catherine communities were targeted over the weekend under Operation Mosquito Search and Destroy. On Saturday, the Ministry of Health led a cleanup campaign in Rivoli. Acting Chief Medical Officer Dr. Winston Delahaye told JIS News that the cleanup exercise was among a series of campaigns being held across the island.
This is not a one-day effort. The main thrust is to motivate each individual Jamaican to get involved, to protect ourselves, to turn over the pots and pans, to throw out all the things that can hold water and which will breed mosquitoes.
Cleanup activities were also undertaken in Old Brayton, Reedspen and Gregory Park in Portmore. Acting Mayor of Portmore, Leon Thomas, called for all hands on deck to rid the municipality of mosquitoes.
I am calling on the community at large in Portmore, all community, to play their part to make certain that we get rid of the breeding site in and around the houses, including open lots.
Portmore residents can call 740-744022 for assistance in collecting their garbage. In other news, security personnel and election day workers went to the polls today. Voting went smoothly for the most part at the 282 polling stations. 39,108 special services electors were eligible to vote. Election day workers account for close to 26,500 of that total. Director of Elections Orrit Fisher said all but 1 polling station opened at the scheduled 8 o'clock start time. The polls for the security personnel and election day workers closed at 4 p.m. The remainder of Jamaicans will vote on Thursday, February 25. Polling stations on that day will open from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. And 13 additional candidates have signed the Political Code of Conduct to govern their actions during the election period. The candidates were from constituencies in Hanover and St. Elizabeth. Custos Rotolorum of St. Elizabeth Beryl Rochester called for peaceful and fair elections.
I wish all of you well in these elections and pray that God will grant you all a mindset of peace and forgiveness so that Jamaica will also emerge a winner in the general elections.
Up to last Wednesday, 119 of 152 candidates signed the Political Code of Conduct. And finally, the Tourism Ministry has provided $48 million to fund developments in Treasure Beach, St. Elizabeth. Portfolio Minister Dr. Wickham McNeil says $28 million will be used to undertake road repairs, while the remaining $20 million will provide loans for operators of properties and attractions that are licensed by the Jamaica Tourist Board.
Last year we had the privilege of passing the community tourism policy. So we now have a document, we now have a plan to work on. And one of the first major projects that we are undertaking is the project here in Treasure Beach. Treasure Beach prides itself and almost being the home of community tourism.
And that's it for GIS News today. I'm Andrea Chisholm. Thank you for watching.
This is the Aedes aegypti mosquito that spreads the Zika, chikungunya, and dengue viruses. Search for its breeding sites and destroy them. A message from the Ministry of Health.
Up next, the latest stories coming out of the office of the Prime Minister.
Heartiest congratulations to West Indies under-19 cricketers. Morgan Heritage lauded for Grammy win, and Prime Minister encourages youth to strive for excellence. Good day, I'm Andrew James Sawyers with Jamaica House Weekly. Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller has committed her government to developing cricket and ensuring that players receive nurturing to achieve their full potential. She says sport continues to be a national priority, as seen in the National Sport Policy and the major investments being made in the sector. The Prime Minister's comments came as she praised the West Indies under-19 cricket team for their historic win at the recently held World Cup in Bangladesh. The team beat India by 5 wickets to take home the title for the first time. In her congratulatory message to the team, Mrs. Simpson Miller highlighted the participation of 3 outstanding young Jamaican cricketers. The Prime Minister also wished the West Indian under-19 cricket team continued success following their memorable history-creating win. Then, following Morgan Heritage's win in the Best Reggae Album category at the Grammys last week, Mrs. Simpson Miller also sent a congratulatory message to the group. She said the group's win was an exceptional accomplishment and a moment of great national pride. Mrs. Simpson Miller said government continued to work to make the cultural and creative industries a centerpiece of social and economic development. As such, she said the National Cultural and Creative Industries Commission had been guiding the process to facilitate the strategic development of the sector to help our people reap more fully the fruits of their creative genius. Young persons are being urged to continue to strive for excellence, even in the face of challenges. Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller shared the encouraging words during a courtesy call with a delegation of youth ambassadors. The party was led by Global Youth Ambassador for the Caribbean and Latin America, Shaquille Ramsey. Ramsey will represent the region at the International Development Youth Forum set for Tokyo, Japan in March. And early today, Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller met with international and regional observers for the February 25 general elections. Mrs. Simpson Miller welcomed Janet Bostwick, Chief of Mission from the Organization of American States, to Jamaica House. Later in the afternoon, she met with a delegation from the CARICOM Electoral Observation Team. The observer missions will be liaising with the Electoral Commission of Jamaica during their visit. And that's it for Jamaica House Weekly. We return next time with more of the stories coming out of the office of the Prime Minister.
nutritious food, succulent dishes, superior workmanship, and excellent service. Jamaica is on the go. Let's grow what we eat and eat what we grow. Let's harness the indomitable spirit of our most valued resource, our people. Let's support our local businesses. After all, buying Jamaican means building Jamaica.
Jamaica, the place of choice to live, work, raise families, and do business. That's the goal government has set for itself, to be met by the year 2030. Find out how they'll achieve it next.
On a map, it's but a tiny dot. But in reality, its total area of about 10,990 square kilometers surrounded by the Caribbean Sea is spectacularly stunning. This is a small feature of the island Jamaica, which boasts of many achievements at home and abroad since gaining independence in 1962. However, as a people, when we take stock of our progress, we also see a country that has not achieved its full potential. Vision 2030 Jamaica has been formulated to assist in remedying this situation. This long-term national development plan aims to put the country in a position to achieve developed country status by 2030. By the projected timeline, Jamaica will be the place of choice to live, work, raise families, and do business. The plan is guided by 4 national goals which are interdependent. Goal 1, Jamaicans are empowered to achieve their fullest potential. Goal 2, the Jamaican society is secure, cohesive, and just. Goal 3, Jamaica's economy is prosperous. And Goal 4, Jamaica has a healthy natural environment. However, if the plan is to succeed, there must be a carefully developed implementation, monitoring, and evaluation framework.
Vision 2030 Jamaica is implemented through alignment with the plans and budgets of ministries, departments of and agencies of government in the first place, and also through alignment with the projects, relevant projects in the private sector, civil society, and very importantly, the country programs of our international development partners are highly aligned with Vision 2030 Jamaica.
Implementation of the National Development Plan is done in a systematic way through the use of the Medium-Term Socio-Economic Policy Frameworks (MTFs). Under the MTF, critical priority areas for implementation are identified through a process of consultation with key stakeholders across the society. This is done every 3 years from 2009 to 2030. 29 sector plans which were formulated as part of Vision 2030 Jamaica for areas deemed critical for Jamaica's development also form part of the framework for implementation by influencing the priority areas for the various MTFs. A robust results-based monitoring and evaluation system is being established to ensure that the goals and outcomes of the plan are achieved. This system builds on existing national and sectoral frameworks. An important aspect of the implementation, monitoring, and evaluation structure is ensuring that an inventory of the plan is done on a yearly basis and its progress tracked using a range of performance indicators and targets, also known as the Dashboard of National Indicators.
We, in fact, maintain a comprehensive database of these indicators called the JAMSTATS database here in the PIOJ using the software provided by the United Nations. And here's where we have the time series on all of these indicators going back for many years, along with the targets. And this is where we store the data and use this to report on progress periodically.
Also, since 2009, 10 thematic working groups, TWGs, made up of representatives from the public and private sectors and the civil society, have been established to provide a forum for the discussion, implementation, monitoring, and evaluation of priorities and activities of Vision 2030 Jamaica at the sectoral level.
They identify problems and try to come up with solutions to ensure that they are overcome. They may help to develop key policies, prepare reports, undertake consultations, and in general do whatever it takes to support the implementation of the plan on a timely basis.
Cabinet, however, has ultimate responsibility for the implementation and coordination of the National Development Plan, while the PIOJ acts as a technical secretariat. In this regard, the PIOJ systematically analyzes and interprets social and economic data and monitors and appraises public and private sector programs and activities based on the goals and outcomes of Vision 2030 Jamaica. The first phase of implementation of Vision 2030 Jamaica 2009 to 2012 is now complete. A report on the progress is being prepared.
I think we have a mixed scorecard of progress so far. We've seen progress in such areas as a very significant fall, for example, in the murder rate, and I think people may well be aware of that. We've exceeded the target that we had set for 2012 already. We have also done quite well in some areas of our education and the certification of our labor force, and also in increasing the percentage of renewable energy sources for the country, where we have done very well there.
However, the country is experiencing lower growth rates than expected, and unemployment and poverty are still pervasive.
We are now focusing through the medium-term economic program and the growth inducement strategy on ensuring that we get back on track in those areas in the next 3 years.
The implementation of the plan does not stop with the private and public sectors. You too can help make Vision 2030 Jamaica a reality. How? By learning about the plan, then sharing and applying the information learned. By committing to being a good role model, taking care of the environment, becoming more involved in community affairs as well as the affairs of the nation, you will help advance the implementation of the plan. For more information, visit the Vision 2030 Jamaica website, vision2030.gov.jm, or call the PIOJ 935-5150 or 935-514-629.
Jamaica, a logistics-centered economy. Global investors investing in mega projects. Special Economic Zone Act approved by Parliament. Jamaica is ready for increased global trade. Thousands of Jamaicans across the country, from high school to higher learning, trained in logistics management. More ships refueling in Jamaica and increased logistics operations in Jamaica. Capacity building for the business sector. The Jamaica Logistics Hub Initiative, rolling out across the country.
For the Vision 2030 Jamaica National Development Plan to be successful, all Jamaicans, including our children, must buy into the vision. What better way to get children to understand Goal 3 of the plan than by connecting them with money?
Ask a child where money comes from, and you'll get all kinds of answers.
Trees, Mommy's purse, Daddy's pocket.
Okay, let's try to find the correct response.
Money comes from the mint.
A mint is where people make money to give to other people.
Adults earn money by working for other people or setting up their own businesses. When they get that money, it may be placed in a bank account. Then,
they withdraw money from the ATM.
That money is called
a salary. They use it to pay their bills, they use it to buy food for the family. They use it to make sure that everybody has what they need.
Now, Mom and Dad have to budget their money. You can do that too.
A budget is how you plan to spend money and how you earn it and how the money that you earn and spend.
You create a budget by setting up things to say that, all right, I need this stuff and I don't need that stuff. So I will buy this stuff that I really need, and that's how you create a budget.
Do you guys budget? You do? What do you budget? What type of expenses do you possibly have to budget for? Tell me.
For example, since I get my allowance every week, I budget it. Like I have some for save. I have 3 envelopes, from one for save, one for spend, and one for give.
Right.
I put the give in, I put some, say for example, I have $300. I get $300, so I put $100 in give, $100 in spend, and $100 in save. and that's how I budget my money. So when I want to buy something, I look in my spend box to see if I have enough money. And if it's going to clear me out, I know I'm not going to spend it.
Oh, okay.
And for give, I would give it to churches or the Salvation Army. Mommy gives me money to spend for my spend, like for food and other costs. And I budget how much money I'm going to spend for how much water I need to buy, how much food what food I'm going to eat, and what exact restaurant.
What about you, Tahi? Do you budget?
Yes, I would budget every day, and every time if I want to go to a movie, I would budget it, what I would want to spend.
Now, what values we teach our children is up to the household they're raised in.
We would like budget everything we do. If like mom asks me what do I want, I would say I would want nachos, and she would withdraw some money, like she would have it saved and she would give me the money. All right, she would be like, all right, this is your allowance, you use this, you buy what you want, and I buy what I want.
Okay, but you can't have everything. You have to choose what you want.
Yes, and if I have change, I save it.
How does the government get money?
They trade with other countries, and they get money by selling or produce like bauxite and those that they used to make aluminum. And they have tourism that they use to invite tourists over to Jamaica for there to spend their foreign exchange.
Foreign exchange is money from other countries like Canadian or US dollars or the pound sterling.
So apart from tourism and bauxite and getting foreign exchange, Tahid, which other way does the government get money?
Taxes.
Right. You have any example of any tax?
GCT, environmental taxes, educational taxes.
Where do you pay GCT normally?
In a store.
All right, so you maybe go to like the supermarket or so and you pay the GCT.
Government spends money to improve the country, to fix roads, care for the sick, run schools, and a number of other things.
What's the difference between a piggy bank and an actual bank?
You do not get interest in your piggy bank, you get interest in the bank.
Right.
And interest is something they put onto your money so it can get larger.
The actual bank and the piggy bank. The piggy bank now, you can't actually grow any money from it, but the bank, it adds money on it gradually.
Children, this money thing isn't so hard to understand after all, don't it? Talk to an adult about it and read books that will carefully explain the world of money.
The call to action is for parents to start considering seriously, how can I practice money management in my own life for the sake of my child getting it right? And from that point on, the reinforcement comes, the second thing is to reinforce it with the child. Simply, when you go to the grocery store, one of the ways in which you can start is to take a simple budget with you and show your child that you live within your means.
It keeps our bodies working, our food nutritious, our living and working spaces clean, and our lives comfortable. Water, the most precious resource necessary for the sustenance of life on our planet. Don't waste it. Let's conserve on this critical commodity. In the house, invest in storage containers and buckets. Take quick showers instead of long baths, and invest in water-efficient shower heads, toilets, and faucets. You may also want to consider one-pot meals and cooking methods that don't require much water. You could also wash fruits and vegetables in a bowl and reuse the water on your plants or grass. When cleaning dishes, fill both sinks and use one for washing and the other for rinsing. The leftover water can be used to wash off the concrete or asphalt in your yard. If you must wash your car at home, aim for once a fortnight and use a bucket to do the washing instead of running the hose. Don't delay. Start your water conservation practices today.
Goal 1 of Vision 2030 Jamaica speaks to citizens being empowered to achieve their fullest potential. A part of that includes having a healthy and stable population. This next feature speaks to the health and nutrition of the future leaders of this nation.
It's a long-held belief that a healthy child is a better student, and a big part of children being receptive to learning and meeting their developmental milestones is a well-balanced diet. We support that notion, and so we've enlisted the help of Charmaine Edwards, head of the nutrition unit in the Ministry of Health, to give us some useful pointers on how to make the first few years of our toddler's education productive. Charmaine, so happy to have you. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
A lot of toddlers, when they're making the transition from home or daycare into a full-fledged school, it can be a very unsettling experience.
Right.
So what kind of advice would you give in helping making that transition smoother?
Right. So the first advice I would give is not to use food to get these children settled. So don't offer food as reward. All right? Don't try to use it to calm their emotional state. They develop the wrong association for food. But in terms of eating, the first thing they do is refuse food. But I can tell you, when they're hungry, they're gonna eat. So we just need to ensure that they are having their proper nutrition. How will you know if they are? They will gain weight, they will grow well. They're not gaining weight and they're not growing, we know that something is wrong with their nutritional status. What we have not mentioned so far, however, is their physical activity, because it's going to be key. Because obesity, and childhood obesity in particular, is becoming really important in the Caribbean and in the world in general. So we need to ensure that they are active participants. And with the sugar and so on, we need to watch dental caries. That's another part we tend to forget, but we need to ensure that the teeth are also healthy.
Okay. But as also part of the nutrition, as we wrap up soon, is in terms of the fact that when they're moving on to a full-fledged school, the parent is not around all day. So even though they might give them their lunches, because I remember when I was younger, and my mom gave me like a bun and cheese, and when I went to school, I'd give it away.
Right.
So how can a parent ensure that their child at school is eating properly?
Right. And so it brings me to 2 points. The first one is going to be children share a lot. It's in their nature. So you might give away your lunch and eat somebody else's lunch. They are like that. So once all our caregivers are aware of the healthy options that are available, then you shouldn't worry too much. That's one. 2, most of these early child institutions have a structured program, and so they monitor what it is that the children are having. I know that the Early Childhood Commission has developmental officers, and they have inspectors that go around to ensure that they adhere to the standards that have been set. So I wouldn't worry too much in that setting. That is a more controlled setting, even than when you get to a primary school level per se, when the children are free to choose at that point. But children 3 to 4 are generally starting their independence. They want to feed themselves. And so the environment is controlled. So once the environment is controlled, then we shouldn't have to worry too much.
Okay. Any last tips?
So feed them in happy surroundings. Make eating a pleasurable experience for them. Experiment with them. Don't impose our likes as adults and dislikes on them. Let them make their own choices.
Thank you, Charmaine. So there you have it. Nutrition is a major part of a child's learning experience. So ensure your child has the right ingredients to grow and to learn.
And that's how we draw the curtains down on today's edition of Jamaica Magazine. If you enjoyed our show, tell us by sending your emails to jamaicamagazine@jis.gov.jm or sending us a direct message on Facebook or Twitter. Missed aspects of today's program? Watch them at jis.gov.jm or on our YouTube page. On behalf of the entire team here at the JIS, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Thank you for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.